You're listening to Inside Israel Today with Gil Hoffman on the Land of Israel Network.
Hello and welcome to Inside Israel Today here on the Land of Israel Network on the landofisrael.com, where we have only 77 days left of our repeat election that will hopefully not lead to a three-peat election. Here we have a very special day because today is election day in the Labor Party, the party that founded the State of Israel and ran it for 3 decades. The 65,000 or so members of the Labor Party are eligible to vote today in more than 100 polling stations around the country. Polls close at 9 o'clock at night Israel time, and around 10:30 we will find out who will be the new leader of the Labor Party, replacing Avi Gabay, and start speculating about whether that leader of the Labor Party will be able to guide the party in a better direction. I think that a blind elephant could probably lead the Labor Party better than Avi Gabay did, so it's not going to be that difficult, but we'll see. Anything can happen in this election. So this election is actually been a fun one to follow because you have a generational divide between Amir Peretz, who is 67 years old, the former leader of the party, former defense minister, who is the champion of the poor masses from Sderot, a development town close to Gaza, against 2 young up-and-coming leaders who first made a name for themselves in the protest movement of 2011 when they pitched tents on Rothschild Boulevard, Stav Shafir and Itzik Shmuley, where Stav is 34 years old, Itzik is 39, just getting their start in life. Stav is not married yet. Itzik Shmuley is married, is a life partner who is a man, and they just adopted a child together from Boston by a surrogate, as opposed to Amir Peretz, who is a very proud grandfather. So these are very different directions to choose from, has made this election quite fun. Stav and Shmuley did not exchange a word between them for about 8 years between leading these socioeconomic protests on the streets of Tel Aviv and when they both were running for leader of the Labor Party, basically on the same ticket of the young whippersnapper who could bring change to a party that has gone through tough times. Shmuley tried to get Stav to quit the race, knowing that could be key toward him having a chance of beating Amir Peretz. Stav offered Shmuley full partnership, that they would run the party together, alternate whatever role they'd have, be like Naftali Bennett and Ayelet Shaked, sort of. Shmuley said, I don't think that's really going to work. We don't really get along well enough for that to happen. And this could pave the way for both of them to end up losing. When you can't compromise, when you fight with each other, you tend to not get very far. I was at an event on Sunday in Tel Aviv where 25 Knesset members from the past, cabinet ministers, people who once had so much hope behind them, were at Amir Peretz's headquarters, uniting behind him in a pretty impressive way. You know, it was sad seeing some of these people who lost jobs, who used to be the leaders of the Knesset, used to be such inspiring people, and now I don't know what they do for a living. I don't know how they get by. You know, there they were. It's the middle of the day on a weekday. Why are you all free? Don't you have anywhere else to be? I felt really bad. I mean, look, a lot of them were really old. You're Ephraim Sneh, and you were Uzi Baram. These are people from a different generation, but you had their young people like Ophir Paz Pinas. You had people like Avi Yechezkel, people who are young, Leah Fadida, who just left the Knesset just now, Rabbi Tal Swede, who's a lawyer, but narrowly missed making it into the Knesset, might make it into the next one, I don't know. I guess people take off when you have an election coming up if it's important to you. We're going to be going to another young and inspiring former Knesset member, now Hilik Bar, who fought too much with Avi Gabay when he led the party, and Hilik was the Secretary General until recently. He also, I don't know what he does for a living right now. I guess that's probably not my top priority to ask him. This is a party whose future is very much in doubt. After Gabay led them to only 6 seats, who's to say they'll have any seats if they run alone? The electoral threshold of about 140,000 votes is 4 seats in the Knesset. They could easily fall behind, especially with Ehud Barak coming and forming a new party and building up a new list of impressive people, including a couple former pretty highly ranked Labor candidates. They could win the support of whoever is left in the Labor Party and leave Labor with pretty much nothing. It's possible, depending on who wins the race, that they could end up joining with Barak, maybe joining with Blue and White, maybe joining with Meretz. Itzik Shmuli, if he wins this race, then I can definitely see him running together with Barak. If Stav wins, I can definitely see her running with Meretz. If Amir Peretz wins, he doesn't get along with Barak. Barak, when he beat Peretz last time, he fired him from the post of defense minister by fax. Do you remember those little annoying machines that paper came out of? That was how he fired him. And that was really rude, because at the time, Amir Peretz was planning an attack on a nuclear facility in Syria. It was supposed to take place right around then. It ended up getting delayed, the attack, by a couple months because of Ehud Barak and his handling of the situation. Ehud Barak opposing attacking the nuclear reactor in Syria until Ehud Olmert did it despite Barak, his defense minister, and ended up, imagine that attack on the reactor in Syria. Imagine if they would have kept a nuclear capability in Syria under Bashar Assad, a madman who killed 500,000 people, his own people. I think we have to be thankful that Ehud Olmert stood up to Ehud Barak and listened to Amir Peretz. So Barak being there really does change everything, and it's very possible that Amir will decide not to join him. And it's possible that Amir will decide not to join with Meretz. I don't know. Blue and White, I don't think, would want to form another bond. They already have 3 party leaders who don't get along very well. So we're going to see whether the center-left is going to be uniting, whether the center-left is going to be dividing, and it can only really start happening after the Labor election gets out of the way, which could happen today, or it could happen only after another week. If none of the candidates get 40% of the vote today, I'll be sitting here in the same chair next week, probably around the same time, and saying, "Isn't this exciting? We have an election in the Labor Party today." And I'll try to persuade you that the election is interesting, and I probably will fail. But we'll see. If Peretz, Shmuley, or Stav get 40% of the vote today, then the race will be done, and then we'll be able to move on to other parties and see what they'll be doing. So this primary in the Labor Party was open to anybody who is a member of the party. It's very easy to become a member of the party if you're a citizen of Israel. You pay a nominal fee by standing order in the bank, and then you're on the list. In the Likud, you have to wait a long time to be able to vote. You have to already pay that membership fee. Whereas Labor, they had a one-day membership drive last week. That was it. 4,500 people joined. Stav says most of them were hers. Okay. And those people are ready, voting in this election now. Likud people also, they pay a nominal fee in the bank, and then they get a chance to vote. The parties that are led by party leaders who decide their lists on their own, they're less democratic. There you can't really have a say. We're all going to have a say on Election Day, on September 17th, when every Israeli citizen can vote. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe it's not too late for you to move to this country and get a residence here, become a citizen. You can still move here in time to be able to vote in our election on September 17th. So after the break, we will be speaking to former Knesset member and Labor Secretary General Hilik Bar. Stay with us.
This is where Jerusalem was happening 2,000 years ago in all its glory.
Josh Haston here. Check out my show this week as I speak to Zev Ornstein, Director of International Affairs for the City of David Foundation. The city of David just opened what is known as the Pilgrimage Road. Unbelievable.
Some of the most seminal events and figures going back 2,000 years for Jews and Christians alike would have happened along this road. I like to refer to it as the biblical superhighway.
Hear it here exclusively on my show, Israel Uncensored, on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com.
And we're back here on the Land of Israel Network on thelandofisrael.com, where we are focusing our show today on the exciting election taking place in the party that founded the State of Israel, the Labor Party. They have 65,000 members going out to vote today, and so we're going live, for what we can call live, to a polling station in Jerusalem, to the former Secretary General of the party and former Knesset member, Hilik Bar. Thank you for coming on Inside Israel today.
Thank you. Good morning.
So what's the environment like there? The polls have just opened where you are. Are there long lines going out the door?
Yeah, they are about to open in around 10 o'clock, and absolutely we are feeling already the environment, the people, the activists of the candidates. People are starting to pack and be next to the poll station, and we're feeling environment of elections here, absolutely, and it's very, very happy.
There have been many people who have eulogized the Labor Party and said that it's on death's door. Will today prove otherwise, Hilik Bar?
Absolutely. You know, there is a fashion, a kind of sport to in the last few years, maybe 2 decades, to say that the Labor Party is about to die and to vanish from politics, and we saw it in 2011, and then we doubled and tripled our power. So I'm suggesting no one to send home this very important party. We didn't finish our historic duty, and I think that today we will elect a chairman, and we will start a new way towards the next election with, I hope, much more success than we had in the last time.
Now, it's interesting that you bring up 2011 because there was one person who destroyed the Labor Party in 2011. His name was Ehud Barak. And now he's made a political comeback and is trying to take votes away from Labor while saying he's going to join with Labor. What is the impact of this man who's caused so much damage to your party in the past going to be for the future?
Well, happily, he didn't destroy the Labor Party and didn't cause the damage because we doubled our power just that one election after he left. But Ehud Barak is a great guy, you know, he's an Israeli hero. He have a lot of good things that I can say about him. He left the Labor Party, which I didn't like back then, as a very young elected Secretary General. Now he's forming a new party. He's running with good guys and girls together with him. I don't know, we may collaborate with him in one list or maybe separately in the next election. But I do think that it's important that he joined not the party, but the efforts to replace the ultra-right-wing government in Israel, to contribute, to revive once again the efforts to solve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, to have a better and more just society in Israel, more equality. And we will see in the next few weeks if we will go together with him or separately with him. But the effort is a joint effort to replace Netanyahu and his government.
Now, you're supporting Amir Peretz in this race. I saw you at Amir Peretz's very impressive end-of-campaign event where he had like 25 former Knesset members and ministers who all seem to have time in the middle of the day on a regular weekday. Why Amir, and what can he do for the party?
Well, without a question, Amir have too many advantages over the other candidates, who are great candidates, by the way. Also, Shmuley and Stav are young and very energetic candidates, but it's time not to gamble on the future of the party and Israel. And I think that the experience of Amir Peretz through more than 30 years of activity in the Histadrut, worker unions, mayor of Sderot, minister of defense that made Kippat Barzel that saved Israel today,
Iron Dome,
and other achievements that he had. This is something that you cannot take from Amir. Amir did it in a very impressive way. He made a lot of duties in the Israeli society, and I think that Amir have the right heart in the right place when it comes to the conflict resolution, to a more just society, and this is why I strongly endorsed and supported Amir Peretz, which I hope will be the next chairman of the Labor Party, but nothing is closed yet.
And then what happens? Let's say Amir Peretz wins. What's the next step?
I think that after Amir Peretz will win, we will try to form a better or bigger bloc under Amir in the center left, because when we're united, we have much more power than when we're divided. We're seeing the right wing right now that usually is united, dividing itself with small parties, which is an advantage to our center left bloc. So I hope that Amir, and by the way, one of the reasons that I support Amir is that I believe that out of a point of power, he will be able to bring more forces and more small parties under the Labour Party to create this bloc next to blue and white party. So I hope that this kind of unity will happen under Amir, and Amir is definitely one of the only people that can actually create this kind of center-left strong bloc.
Oh, now he's proven in the past that he can actually win votes over from the right, people from development towns who've traditionally voted for Likud, going for a capitalist party, even though they're poor. He's gotten people to actually vote for a party that wants to help poor people. Can he do that in this election? Could that help bring Netanyahu down?
Absolutely. Amir clearly have two huge advantages over anyone else. One is that he's very popular in the periphery of Israel. You said poor people, but the people who are not enjoying all the rights that citizens should enjoy, weaker places like in the Galil, in the Negev, in the periphery of Israel. And the other reason is that Amir proved in 2006-11 that he was able to win the Likud in the base polls, in the base city of Likud, in the cities that Likud was the strongest.
The traditional strongholds.
Absolutely, and he won them in Kiryat Shmona, in Tzfat, and in Sderot and Netivot, and other places that are called Likud places. And I think that Amir can definitely do it again, and if we will not be able to mobilize 3 or 4 or 5 seats, mandates from the right wing to the center left, we don't have any chance to win. We saw it in the last election when blue and white brought 35 seats that remained in the opposition. So I think that the fact that Amir did it in 2006 definitely proves us that he can do it again, and this is another major reason for me to support Amir Peretz.
And so you're gambling Netanyahu's going to lose?
I hope. I think that Netanyahu, he made his contribution to some aspects in the Israeli society, but I think that his historic role is behind him. He should make time to take care of his legal issues and give another leadership the option to take place and lead Israel to better days.
Well, I'll let you go back to shaking hands and kissing babies over there at the polling station. Thank you for taking the time out to come here on this show.
Thank you, Gil, and thank you very much.
Have a great day. Bye-bye. That was Hilik Bar, ladies and gentlemen, the Knesset member until recently for the Labour Party, also until recently the Secretary General of the party, who helped run the party during good times and bad, and this is unquestionably a bad time for the Labour Party, 6 seats in the polls. But maybe a new leader will be elected today who will inspire the masses to go back to the party that founded the state. Or maybe today will just be yet another step on the way to the party going to oblivion. Stay tuned in the weeks ahead of this exciting election taking place in Israel to Inside Israel Today here on the Land of Israel Network on thelandofisrael.com. We'll have another great show from Jerusalem here next week. Thank you very much.
It's not just a refinement of the Jews, and it's not just the strength of the Israelis now, but there is a whole world of the nations that are a part of this process, and they are being refined just as well, and they are going against the grain. With the rise of anti-Semitism, it's going to get harder and harder to stand with.
And there's
Israel.
no running away from it either. I mean, there's nothing greater than living as a Jew, especially in our world today, where we see the ingathering of the exiles from all around the world. They're coming back to the land of Israel. We have our own state. The technology, the innovation, the light that's coming out of the Jewish people in Israel is unparalleled. And that's part of what we're trying to broadcast here on the Land of Israel Network and share that message.
Israel Inspired with Ari Abramowitz and Jeremy Gimpel on the Land of Israel Network at thelandofisrael.com.